Adams Archive.
I recently did some research about EMF radiation, and I found some online studies that talked about 5G, that talked about EMF radiation poisoning, and they essentially compared what the modern medicine and modern government is trying to explain away about EMF radiation poisoning with cigarettes, right? It's okay. It's good for you. You don't look at, I'm smoking a cigarette. Your doctor uses a cell phone. It must be fine, right? But when you look into it, when you look at the studies, when you go in and you actually go deep dive into some like PubMed published studies that have been done that show that the amount of tumors in rats that are created when they are in an environment with 1/10 of the EMF average radiation poisoning that we are in constantly, right? Everything around you is emitting EMF radiation, right? Your cell phone that you're listening to this on right now, your computer, the very computer I'm shooting this on, anything and everything that connects to Wi-Fi is emitting EMF radiation. And your body was not meant to have that happen to it, right? You have all of these invisible frequencies flowing through your brain right now, right? If you wear AirPods, if you wear Bluetooth headphones, your microwave, your fridge, all of these things emit a certain level of radiation. And when you combine that all together in an unprecedented time of technology where our technology moves extremely fast, our growth trajectory is unbelievable. And you know what lags way far behind that is governance surrounding it, right? And I even want to pose this question to you. If our government found out that the only legitimate cause of cancer was EMF radiation from our technology, do you think, and answer this for me, do you think that they would sound the alarm and be willing to take us back to a time where we would decide to no longer use the modern technology that we have around us today in order to stop the cancer from killing all of the humans that it does on a yearly basis? Do you think that the government would sound that alarm? Do you think that they would allow us to go back in time 100 years ago to where we didn't have this type of technology? Or do you think, and let's even take that one step further, do you think the organizations and the companies who are profiting ungodly amounts of money off of your cell phone, off of your Wi-Fi, off of your work, at work, utilizing your laptop to be as efficient and effective as you are today, do you think if they found a hint of information that showed that it was extremely terrible for your health, that they would tell you about it? Or do you think they would bury it like Jimmy Hoffa, never to be seen again? No trace. Here's another question for you. If you found out that by utilizing all of the modern technology around you, your cell phone, your laptop, your fridge, your microwave, your Wi-Fi, all of the technology that you utilize on a daily basis, if I told you today that there was a 15% chance that you would die of cancer if you continue to use that technology, would you cut yourself off from all of it today? Let's say if it was 30%. What if it was a 50% chance? A 50-50 shot that you die of cancer. And all you have to do to stop that from happening is stop using any and all modern technology. Would you do it? And I think there's a lot of people out there where the answer would be no. They would take the chance. And fortunate for us, we're not in that situation. Fortunate for us, when they've done these studies, and 5 of 6 of the people on the board for the EMF radiation, the board that essentially establishes the parameters for what's medically acceptable around you. There's, just so you know, there is a board that does that looks at the EMF radiation levels and says whether what you are getting, what it is emitting from your modern technology is an acceptable level or not. 5 out of 6 of those people on that governance board, because they know this is an issue, but 5 out of 6 of those people work for high-level or are high-level board members of telecommunication companies. That's the truth. That's the facts. The people creating the guidelines for how much EMF radiation that you get to have go into your brain on a daily basis, right? You want to talk about potential for autism. You want to talk about ADHD. You want to talk about ADD. Maybe it isn't just the food. Maybe it isn't just the environment. Maybe it isn't just TikTok technology, scrolling culture. Maybe it has more to do with the radio and electromagnetic frequencies that are flowing through your body at this very second, constantly, without a doubt. Now, there is some things that you can do to mitigate that, some things that you don't have to buy. You can turn your Wi-Fi off at night, something that you should do. You should stand away from the microwave when you're cooking your food, right? You should unplug, or you should put your phone on airplane mode at night. There's very simple things that you can do, that you should do. But there's also other things that you can do that will help you even more, which is protecting yourself from those EMF radiation frequencies, the radiation poisoning, by protecting yourself with a layer of what they call Faraday cloth. And Faraday cloth is a silver-lined fabric. It's a little bit expensive fabric that you can get, and you actually have to source it from somewhere that combines it with clothing fabric so that you don't look like a goof. And all of the companies that were doing this, when I started to research this, when I was looking into the studies for a previous podcast that I did on 5G and EMF radiation poisoning, I was looking at all these companies. I'm like, hey, maybe I should do something about this. And so I looked at all the companies. There's several well-known companies. There's a company that makes hats called Lambs, Lambs, and I'll tell you them. That's my competition. But you know why I'll tell you them? Because they charge $90 for a hat that doesn't look nearly as good as the hat that I have, for technology, that silver-lined fabric that isn't nearly as protective for the one that I've sourced. I've been working with manufacturers for months on this stuff. So that is one aspect of it. And what they found is that the tumors that are created as a result in these mice and the studies that they've been able to do with EMF radiation is that they found that the tumors primarily grow in the brain. It's neuroblastoma is what the type of tumor is that essentially grows within your brain as a result of high levels of EMF radiation poisoning over a long extended period of time. So you can mitigate that by having a Faraday hat, because that is the number one place that it targets your body in. Right? Your brain is essentially a big satellite on the top of your head, taking in all of these things all of the time, right? All of the EMFs, all of the radio frequencies. Like there's a telepathy. You want to get into some weird shit? You could talk about how, the CIA was conducting research into how people can actually communicate or pick up on signals in the air. Right? Your brain's a satellite, even if you don't want to get that weird about it. Your brain is absolutely shown by studies taking in the EMF radiation. And you can use a baseball hat from very, very limited amount of companies. Now, this is just starting to be a serious conversation, and I am ahead of the game. And I've been sourcing this with the manufacturers. I've dealt with tens of manufacturers now, getting tons of samples in, trying to find the right manufacturer for the right material that protects you the most and actually looks like something that you would want to wear. So that is the Faraday apparel, the hats, the beanies, all are on my website right now. Those are currently, I'm finishing up the final sample and we'll be getting the order in within about 2 to 3 weeks. And then I'll be sending the initial orders out for the pre-sales in about a week or two after that. So about 4 to 5 weeks from now, I will have all of the orders in, and then I will also be starting to ship these out. So you can actually go and order it from the back ordered websites right now. You can go to roninbasics.com and order a baseball hat. You can order a beanie. And then there's a whole other aspect of Faraday goods, which is the elimination of your digital footprint, right? The same way that the EMF radiation can't get through the Faraday technology that is in the hat that I'm wearing, it also can't get through or transmit frequencies in or out if it's in a completely enclosed space surrounded by it. So if you have a backpack, if you have a phone sleeve, if you have a laptop sleeve that you put your phone in or your laptop in, then it completely eliminates your digital footprint, right? You don't have to deal with the government tracking your every step, right? You use your maps just to find where you're going all the time. So do I, right? But what you don't know is they're tracking you all of the time after that too, right? We all know that they're turning on your microphone with technology and softwares like Pegasus software, can turn on your microphone whenever they want, can turn on your camera whenever they want, but not if your phone is in a Faraday sleeve, not if your phone is in a Faraday backpack. Now, again, these things are extremely expensive through our competitors. One company, the very well-known company, is called SLNT, Silent, and they charge upwards of $1,300 for a backpack. Now, I mentioned Lambs, they charge $90 for a hat. My company is going to charge almost half of that, right? $50 for a hat and about $180 for a backpack as it stands today. Okay, so you can head over to the website right now. You can make a purchase. It's all back ordered, right? Besides the wallets are ready to go right now and we'll ship out next week. But if you buy a backpack or a hat, It'll be to you as soon as I get the orders in and make the initial shipments. And you are going to love it, I promise. RoninBasics.com. Protect yourself, protect your family. And anybody who signs up will actually get an affiliate code from me. So if you want to promote it yourself, tell your family and your friends about this new thing that you learned about that is protecting yourself, and help them learn along the way about this hidden, serious, terrible thing that is happening to our society and our culture that literally nobody is discussing consistently besides some very large influencers, like I mentioned earlier. It's starting to be a more serious conversation, the same way that cigarettes were eventually determined to be cancer-causing, extremely carcinogenic. And that is the term that they use about EMF radiation. It is carcinogenic when you're reading these articles, when you're reading these published studies, okay? That's what I got for you right now. Go check it out, RoninBasics.com.
Adam's Archive.